ओम श्री सच्चिदानंद सद्गुरु साईनाथ महाराज की जय. Chapter 18 and 19. How Hemad Pant was accepted and blessed. Stories of Mr. Sate and Mrs. Deshmukh, encouraging good thoughts to fruition. Variety in Upadesh, teachings regarding slander and remuneration for labor. In the last two chapters, Hemad Pant described how a rich gentleman aspiring for quick Brahmagnan was treated by Baba, and now in these two chapters he describes how Hemad Pant himself was accepted and blessed by Baba, how Baba encouraged good thoughts and fructified them, and his teachings regarding self-improvement, slander and remuneration for labor. Preliminary. It is a well-known fact that the Sadguru looks first to the qualification of his disciples and then gives them suitable instructions without unsetting their minds in the least, and leads them on towards the goal of self-realization. In this respect, some say that what the Sadguru teaches or instructs should not be divulged to others. They think that their instructions become useless if they are published. This view is not correct. The Sadguru is like a monsoon cloud. He pours down profusely, that is, scatters widely his nectar-like teachings. These we should enjoy and assimilate to our heart's content, and then serve others with them without any reservation. This rule should apply not only to what he teaches in our waking stage, but to the visions he gives us in our dreams. To quote an instance, Buddha Kaushik Rishi published his celebrated Ramaraksha Stotra, which he had seen in his dream. Like a loving mother forcing bitter but beneficial medicines down the throats of her children for the sake of their health, Sai Baba imparted spiritual instructions to his devotees. His method was not veiled or secret but quite open. The devotees who followed his instructions got their object. Sadgurus like Sai Baba open our eyes, the intellect, and show us the divine beauty of the self and fulfill our tender longings of devotion. When this is done, our desire for sense objects vanishes, twin fruits of Vivek and Vairagya come to our hands, and knowledge sprouts up even in the sleep. All this we get when we come in contact with saints, serve them, and secure their love. The Lord, who fulfills the desires of his devotees, comes to our aid, removes our troubles and sufferings, and makes us happy. This progress of development is entirely due to the help of the Sadguru, who is regarded as the Lord himself. Therefore, we should always be after the Sadguru, hear his stories, fall at his feet, and serve him. Now we come to our main story. Mr. Sate. There was a gentleman named Mr. Sate who had attained some publicity many years ago during Crawford regime, which was put down by Lord Rear, the governor of Mumbai. He suffered severe losses in trade. Other adverse circumstances gave him much trouble and made him sad and dejected. Being restless, he thought of leaving home and going out to a distant place. Man does not generally think of God, but when difficulties and calamities overtake him, he turns to him and prays for relief. If his demerits have come to an end, God arranges his welfare. Mr. Sate had similar experience. His friends advised him to darshan for getting peace of mind and the satisfaction of their wants. He liked the idea and at once came to Shirdi in 1917. Seeing Baba's form, which was like eternal Brahma, self-luminous, peerless and pure, his mind lost its restlessness and became calm and composed. He thought that it was the accumulation of merits in his former births that brought him to the holy feet of Baba. He was a man of strong will. He at once started to make Parayan or Guru Charitra. When the reading was finished in a saptah or 7 days, Baba gave him the vision that night. It was to this effect Baba, with Guru Charitra in his hand, was explaining its contents to Mr. Sate, who was sitting in front of him and listening carefully. When he woke up, he remembered the dream and felt very happy. He thought that it was extremely kind of Baba and felt very happy. Extremely kind of Baba who awakens souls like his that are snoring in ignorance and makes them taste the nectar of Guru Charitra. Next day, he informed Kaka Sahib Dikshit of his vision and requested him to consult Sai Baba regarding its meaning and significance, whether one saptah reading was sufficient or whether he should begin it again. Kaka Sahib Dikshit, when got a suitable opportunity, asked Baba, Deva, what did you suggest to Mr. Sate by this vision? Whether he should stop or continue the saptah. He is a simple devotee. His desire should be fulfilled. Then Baba replied, he should make one more saptah of the book. If the work be studied carefully, the devotee will become pure and will be benefited, and the Lord will be pleased and will rescue him from the bondage of the mundane existence. At this time, Hemad Pant was present there. He was shampooing Baba's legs. When he heard Baba's word, he thought in his mind, what? Mr. Sate read for a week only and got a reward, and I am reading it for 40 years with no result. His 7 day stay here becomes fruitful, while my 7 years stay goes for nothing. Like a chatak bird, I am ever waiting for the merciful cloud to pour its nectar on me and bless me with his instruction. No sooner did this thought cross his mind, Baba knew it, and there's it was the experience of Bhaktas that Baba understood all their thoughts and that he suppressed the evil thoughts and encouraged the good ones. Reading Hemad Pant's mind, Baba at once asked him to get up, go to Shama, get him 15 rupees as dakshina, sit and chit-chat with him for a while and then return. Mercy dawned in Baba's mind, and so he issued this order. And who could disobey Baba's order? Hemad Pant immediately left the masjid and came to Shama's house. He just had his bath and was wearing a dhotar. He came out and asked Hemad Pant, how is it that you are here now? It seems that you have come from the masjid. Why do you look so restless and rejected? Why are you alone? People sit and rest while I shall do my worship and return. You please do that. In the meanwhile, you please take pan bida, leaves and betel nuts. Let us then have a pleasant chat. After saying this, he went inside and Hemad Pant sat alone in the veranda. He saw in the window a well-known Marathi book named Nath Bhagavat. This is a commentary of the Saint Eknath on the 11th skanda of the bigger Sanskrit work, the Bhagavat. At the suggestion or recommendation of Sai Baba, Messrs. Bapu Sahib Jog and Kaka Sahib Dikshit read Bhagavad Gita daily with its Marathi commentary named Bhavartha Deepika or Dhyaneshwari, and Nath Bhagavat, and also Eknath's other big work was Bhavartha Ramayana. When devotees came to Baba and asked him certain questions, he sometimes answered them in part and asked them to go and listen to the readings of the above mentioned works, which are the main treatise of Bhagavad Dharma. When the devotees went and listened, they got full and satisfactory replies to their questions. Hemad Pant also used to read daily some portions of Nath Bhagavat. That day, he did not complete the daily portion of his reading, but had left it unfinished in order to accompany certain devotees who were going to the masjid. When he took up the book from Shama's window and casually opened it, he found to his surprise that the unfinished portion opened up. He thought that Baba sent him very kindly to Shama's house for enabling him to complete his daily reading. So he went through the unfinished portion and completed it. As soon as it was over, Shama, after doing his work, came out and the following conversation took place between them. Hemad Pant, I have come with a message from Baba. He has asked me to return 15 rupees as dakshina from you, also to sit with you for a while and have a pleasant chit chat, and then return to masjid with you. Shama with surprise, I have no money to give. Take my 15 namaskaras in lieu to the rupees as dakshina to Baba. Hemad Pant, all right, your namaskaras are accepted. Now let us have some chit chat. Tell me some stories and leelas of Baba which will destroy our sins. Shama, then sit here for a while. Wonderful is the sport of this god. You already know it. I am a village rustic while you are an enlightened citizen. You have some more leelas since you are coming over here. How should I describe them before you? Well, take these leaves, betel nut and chuna and have the pan bida while I go in, dress myself and come out. In a few minutes, Shama came out and sat talking with Hemad Pant. He said, the leela of this god is inscrutable. There is no end to his leelas. Who can see them? He plays on sports with his leelas, still he is beyond them. What do we rustics know? Why does not Baba himself tell stories? Why does he send learned men like you to fools like me? His ways are inconceivable. I can only say that they are not human. With this preface, Shama added, I now remember a story which I shall relate to you. I know it personally. As a devotee is resolute and determined, so is Baba's immediate response. Sometimes Baba puts the devotees to severe test and then gives them upadesh. As soon as Hemad Pant heard the word upadesh, a flash of lightning crossed through his mind. At once, remembered the story of Mr. Sate's Guru Charitra reading and thought that Baba might have sent him to Shama in order to give peace to his restless mind. However, he curbed this feeling and began to listen to Shama's stories. They all showed how kind and affectionate Baba was to his devotees. Hemad Pant began to feel joy on hearing all these. Then Shama began to tell the following story. Mrs. Radhabai Deshmukh. There was an old woman by the name Radhabai. She was the mother of one Kaka Sahib Deshmukh. Hearing Baba's fame, she came to Shirdi with the people of Sangamanar. She took Baba's darshan and was much satisfied. She loved Baba intimately and resolved in her mind that she should accept Baba as her guru and take some upadesh from him. She determined to fast herself unto death so long as Baba did not accept her and give her any upadesh or mantra. She stayed in her lodging and stopped taking food, water for 3 days. I was frightened by this ordeal of the old woman and interceded with Baba on her behalf. I said, Deva, what is this? You have started. You drag so many persons here. You know that old lady? She is very obstinate and depends on you. She has resolved to fast unto death if you don't accept and instruct her. If anything worse happens, people will blame you and say that Baba did not instruct her and as a consequence she met her death. So, take some mercy on her, bless her and instruct her. On seeing her determination, Baba sent for her and made her change her mind by addressing as follows. O Mother, why do you have to subject yourself to unnecessary tortures? You are my mother and I am your child. Take pity on me and hear me through. I tell you my own story, which if you listen carefully will do you good. I had a guru. He was a great saint and most merciful. I served him long, very long. Still, he would not blow any mantra into my ears. I had keen desire never to leave him, but to stay with the and serve him, and at all costs receive some instructions from him. But he had his own way. He first got my head shaved and asked me for 2 paisa as dakshina. I gave the same at once. You may say that as my guru was perfect, why should he ask for money? And how should he be called desireless? The reply is that he never cared for coins. What he had to do with them, his 2 paise were firm faith and patience, perseverance. I gave these 2 paise to him and he was pleased. I resorted to my guru for 12 years. He brought me up. There was no dearth of food and clothing. He was full of love, or say, he was love incarnate. How can I describe it? He loved me most. Rare is the guru like him. When I looked at him, he seemed as if he was in deep meditation, and then both were filled with bliss. Night and day, I gazed at him with no thought of hunger and thirst. Without him, I felt restless. I had no subject to meditate upon, nor anything that my guru to attend. He was my sole refuge. My mind was always fixed on him. The nishtha is 1 paisa of dakshina. Saburi is the other paisa. I waited patiently and served my guru. This saburi will ferry me across the sea of this mundane existence. Saburi removes all sins and afflictions, gets rid of calamities in various ways, and casts aside all fear and ultimately gives you success. Saburi is the mine of virtues, concert of good thought. Nishtha and Saburi are the twin sisters loving each other very intimately. My guru never expected anything from me. He never neglected me, but protected me at all times. I lived with him and was sometimes away from him. Still, I never felt the absence of his love. He always protected me by his glance, but as the tortoise feeds her young ones where they are near her or away from her on the other side of the bank, by her loving glances. O mother, my guru never taught me any mantra. Then how shall I blow any mantra into your ears? Just remember that Guru's tortoise, like loving glance, gives us happiness. Do not try to get mantra or upadesh from anybody. Make me the sole object of your thoughts and action, and you will no doubt attain Paramatma, the spiritual goal of life. Look at me wholeheartedly, and I in turn look at you. Sitting in this masjid, I speak the truth, nothing but the truth. No sadhana or proficiency in the 16th Shastras is necessary. Have faith and confidence in your Guru. Believe that Guru is the sole actor and doer. Blessed is he who knows the greatness of his Guru and thinks him to be Hari, Hara, and Brahma, Trimurti incarnate. Instructed in this way, the old lady was convinced. She bowed Baba and gave up her fast. Hearing this story carefully and attentively and marking its significance and appropriateness, Hemad Pant was most agreeably surprised. On seeing the wonderful Leela of Baba, he was moved from top to toe. He was overflowing with joy. His throat was choked and he was not able to utter a single word. Shama, on seeing him in this condition, asked him, "What is the matter with you? Why are you silent? How shall I describe the innumerable Leelas of Baba?" Just at this time, the bell in the masjid began to ring, proclaiming that the noon worship and Aarti ceremony had begun. Therefore, Shama and Hemad Pant hurried to the masjid. Bapu Sahib Jog had just started the worship. Women were up in the masjid and men were standing below in the open courtyard. And they were all singing the arti in chorus to the accompaniment of drums. Shama went up, pulling Hemad Pant with him. He sat to the right and Hemad Pant in front of Baba. On seeing them, Baba asked Hemad Pant to give the dakshina brought from Shama. He replied that Shama gave namaskaras in lieu of rupees and that he was there in person. Baba said, "All right, now let me know whether you both had a chit chat, and if so, what? Tell me all that you have talked about." Not minding the sounds of the bell, the drum, and the chorus songs, Hemad Pant was eager to tell Baba what they had talked about and started to narrate it. Baba was also anxious to hear, and so he left the bolster and leaned forward. Hemad Pant said all that they talked about was very pleased, especially the story of the old lady was most wonderful, and that on hearing it he thought that his leelas were inexplicable, and under the guise of that story he really blessed him. Baba then said, "Wonderful is the story. How were you blessed? I would like to know everything in detail from you, so tell me all about it." Then Hemad Pant related in full the story which he had heard and a little while before, and which had made a lasting impression on his mind. Hearing this, Baba was much pleased and asked again, "Did the story strike you, or did you catch its significance?" He replied, "Yes, Baba, the restlessness of the mind has vanished, and I have got true peace and rest, and come to know the true path." Then Baba spoke as follows, "My method is quite unique. Remember well this one story, and it will be very useful. To get the knowledge of the self, dhyan is necessary. If you practice it continuously, the rittis will be pacified. Being quite desireless, you should meditate on God who is in all the creatures, and when the mind is concentrated, the goal will be achieved. Meditate always on my formless nature, which is knowledge incarnate, consciousness, and bliss. If you cannot do this, meditate on my form from top to toe, as you see here night and day. As you go on doing this, your rittis will be single pointed, and the distinction between the dhyata, dhyana, dhyeya will be lost, and the meditator will be one with the consciousness and be merged in the Brahma. The tortoise is on one bank of the river, and her young ones are to the other side. She gives neither milk nor warmth to them. Her mere loving glance gives them nutrition. The young ones do nothing but remember their mother. The tortoise glance is to the young ones the only resource of sustenance and happiness. Similar is the relation between Guru and disciples. When Baba uttered these words, the chorus of the Aarti was over, and all cried out loudly in unison, "Victory to be our Sadguru! Victory be to our Sadguru Sai Maharaj, who is pure consciousness, knowledge, and bliss." Dear readers, let us imagine that we are at this time standing amongst the crowd in the masjid, and let us join them in this Jai Jaikar. After the Aarti ceremony was over, Prasad was distributed. Bapu Sahib Jog came forward as usual, and after saluting Baba, gave into his palm a handful of sugar candy. Baba pushed all this into the hands of Hemad Pant and said to him, "If you take this story to heart and remember it well, your state will be sweet as this sugar candy. All your desires will be fulfilled, and you will be happy." Hemad Pant bowed down to Baba and implored, "Do favor me like this, bless and protect me always." Baba replied, "Hear this story, meditate on it, and assimilate its spirit. Then you will always remember and meditate on the Lord. who will manifest himself to you. Dear readers, Hemant Pant got prasad of sugar candy, and we now get the prasad of sugar candy or nectar from this story. Let us drink it to our heart's content, meditate on it, and assimilate it, and be strong and happy by Baba's grace. Amen. Towards the end of the 19th chapter, Hemant Pant had dealt with some other matters which are given below. Baba's advice regarding our behavior. The following words of Baba are to the general welfare and are invaluable. If they are kept in mind and acted upon, they will always do you good. Unless there is some relationship or connection, nobody goes anywhere. If any men or creatures come to you, do not discourteously drive them away, but receive them well and treat them with due respect. Sri Hari will be certainly pleased if you give water to the thirsty, bread to the hungry, clothes to the naked, or your veranda to strangers for resting. If anybody wants money from you and you are not inclined to give, do not give, but do not bark at him like a dog. Let anyone speak hundreds of things against you. Do not resent by giving any bitter reply. If you tolerate such things, you will certainly be happy. Let the world go topsy-turvy. You remain where you are. Standing in your own place, look on calamity at the show of all things passing before you. Demolish the wall of difference that separates you and me, and then the road for our meeting will be clear and open. The sense of differentiation as I and thou is the barrier that keeps away the disciple from his master, and unless that is destroyed, the state of union is not possible. Allah Malik, that is, God is the sole proprietor, nobody else is our protector. His method of work is extraordinary, invaluable, and inscrutable. His will be done, and He will show us the way and satisfy our hearts. It is on account of Rinanubandha that we have come together. Let us love and serve each other and be happy. He who attains the supreme goal of life is immortal and happy. All others merely exist, that is, live so long as they breathe. Encouraging good thoughts of fruition. It is interesting to note how Sai Baba encouraged good thoughts. You have to surrender yourself completely to Him and with love and devotion, and then you will see how He helps you throughout. Some saint has said that when you get a good thought immediately after awakening from sleep, if you develop the same afterwards during the day, your intellect will be unfolded and your mind will attain calmness. Hemant Pant wanted to try this. One Wednesday night before going to bed, he thought tomorrow is Thursday, an auspicious day, and the place with Shirdi is so holy. Let me pass the whole day in remembering and celebrating Ram Nam. And then he slept off. Next morning, when he got up and remembered without any effort the name of Ram and was much pleased. After finishing his morning duties, he went to see Baba with flowers. When he left Dikshitwada and was passing by Bhutiwada, he heard a beautiful song that was being sung nicely by an Aurangabadkar in the masjid before Baba. The song was Guru Kripanjan Payo Mere Bai, etc. by Eknath, in which he says that he got collyrium in the form of his Guru's grace, which opened his vision and made him see Ram in and out, in sleep, dream, and waking state, and everywhere. There were so many songs, but why was this song particularly chosen by the Aurangabadkar, a devotee of Baba? Is this not a curious coincidence arranged by Baba to amplify the determination of Hemant Pant to sing unceasingly Ram Nam during the day? All saints agree and lay stress upon the efficacy of uttering Ram's name in fulfilling the ambitions of the Bhaktas and in protecting and saving them from all calamities. Variety in Upadesh, slanderer condemned. Sai Baba required no special place nor any special time for giving instructions. Whenever any occasion demanded, he gave them freely. Once, it so happened that a Bhakta of Baba reviled somehow behind his back before other people. On leaving aside merits, he dwelt on the faults of his brother and spoke so sarcastically that the hearers were disgusted. Generally, we see that people have a tendency to scandalize others unnecessarily, and this brings on ill feelings. Saints see scandal in another light. They say that there are various ways of cleansing or removing dirt with by means of water and soap, etc. But a scandal monger has got a way of his own. He removes the dirt of others by his tongue. So, in a way, he obliges the person whom he reviles, and for this he is to be thanked. Sai Baba had his own method of correcting the scandal monger. He knew by his omniscience what the slanderer had done, and when he met him that noon near the Lendi, Baba pointed out to him as a pig and was eating filth near the fence, and said to him, "Behold, how with what relish it is gulping filth. Your conduct is similar. You go on reviling your own brethren, to your heart's content. After performing many deeds of merit, you are born as a human, and if you act like this, how can Shirdi help you in any way?" Needless to say that the Bhakta took the lesson to his heart and went away. In this way, Baba went on giving instructions whenever necessary. If these are born in the minds and acted upon, the spiritual goal is not far off. There is a proverb which says, "If there be my Hari, he will feed me on my cot." This proverb is only true in respect to food and clothing, but if anyone believing this sits idle and does not do anything spiritual, he will be ruined. One has to exert himself to his utmost for attaining self realization. The more he endeavors, the better for him. Baba said that he was omnipresent, transcending land, air, world, light, and heaven, and that he was not localized. To remove the misunderstanding of those who thought that Baba was only his body, 3.5 cubits in length, he incarnated himself in the form, and if any devotee meditated on him day and night with complete self surrender, he experienced complete union with him, like sweetness and sugar, waves and sea, eye and its sight. He who wants to get rid of the cycle of births and deaths should lead a righteous role with his mind calm and composed. He should not speak harshly to anyone, and so not to hurt him. He should always engage himself in good actions, should do his duties and surrender himself heart and soul to him. He need not then be afraid of anything. He who trusts him entirely, hears and expounds his Leelas and does not think of anything else, is sure to attain self-realization. Baba asked many a number his name and to surrender to him, but to those who wanted to know who they were, he advised Shravan and Manan. To some, he advised remembering God's name, to others, hearing his Leelas, to some, worship of his feet, to others, reading and studying Adhyatma Ramayan, Dhyaneshwari, and other sacred scriptures. Some he made sit near his feet, some he sent to Khandoba's temple, and some he advised the repetition of the 1,000 names of Vishnu, and some the study of Chandogya Upanishad and Gita. There were neither any limit nor any restriction to his instructions. He gave in person or by visions and dreams. To someone addicted to drink, he appeared in his dream, sat on his chest, pressed it, and left him after he gave a promise not to touch liquor anymore. To some, he explained some mantras like Guru Brahma in dreams. To some devotees who were practicing Hatha Yoga, he sent word that he should leave off Hatha Yoga practices. Sit quiet and wait. It is impossible to describe all his ways and methods. In ordinary worldly dealings, he set examples by his action, one of which is given below. Remuneration for labor. One day at noon, Baba came near Radha Krishnamai's house and said, "Bring me a ladder." Some men brought it and set it against the wall of her house, as directed by Baba. He climbed up on the roof of Vaman Gwankar's house, passed over the roof of Radha Krishnamai's house, and then got down from the other corner. What object Baba had, none could know. Radha Krishnamai was at that time shivering with malaria. It may be to drive off that fever that he may have gone up there. Immediately after getting down, Baba paid 2 rupees to the persons who brought the ladder. Somebody asked Baba why he paid so much for this. He replied that nobody should take the labor of others in vain. The worker should be paid his dues promptly and liberally. If the principle taught by Baba be followed, that is, if the remuneration of labor be paid promptly and satisfactorily, the laborers will turn out better and both the laborers and their employees will be profited. Bo to Sri Sai, peace be to all. End of chapters 18 and 19. Let's conclude with one saying from Baba. If you are wealthy, be humble. Plants bend when they bear fruits.